They say there are no seasons in Los Angeles, but that's not really true. It's just that our seasons exist along a narrower bandwidth than most of the country is accustomed to. One consequence is Angelinos are attuned to the smallest change in the weather. We can tell you the difference between 72 degrees and 68 degrees, and we'll be wearing the sweater to prove it. It also means that when larger changes take place, we take particular note. And changes are coming. These are forests. They're not on any map you'll find, but they're every bit as real as any state or national park you've ever visited. They're the suburban and urban forests that characterize Los Angeles, and they've evolved over decades and centuries, even millennia, that human beings have been interacting with and shaping the land in Southern California. It's a remarkable ecosystem comprised of everything from old-growth trees that predate the neighborhoods themselves to modern landscaping using the most advanced water-saving and sustainability techniques. And equally importantly, these forests are the reason people choose to live in these places. From the southern tip of Wilmington all the way out to the northeast San Fernando Valley, especially this time of year, summertime. These trees are family. They're precious. Of course, suburban forests aren't just nice-to-haves enjoyed by a privileged few. These videos are from across LA, some of the most diverse working and middle-class communities in the state of California, in the United States. These trees, these forests, they're the heart and soul of countless hundreds of neighborhoods. As urban areas expand, suburban and urban forests, in fact, become more important, compensating for the loss of open space, bulwarks against climate change. And on top of it all, they're beautiful. And yet, despite the myriad undeniable environmental, social, health, community, and other benefits of suburban and urban forests and the single-family communities that support and sustain them, some lawmakers in Sacramento, quite a few in fact, have determined that single-family zoning must be done away with, that it is both the cause of and product of everything from racial disparities to, oddly, environmental degradation. Now, as we'll see in a minute, the environmental arguments seem specious. The notion that replacing hundreds or thousands of square miles of suburban and urban single-family communities with densely constructed side-by-side apartments, condos, and other multifamily developments simply defies common sense. The fact is, these arguments are made by some of the most well-funded special interests in the country. Along with the environmental arguments, one of the things that they argue most consistently is that single-family neighborhoods are exclusionary, that so-called R1 zoning, by its very nature, precludes certain people from participating, particularly people of color and lower income and working class Californians. Yet according to U.S. Census Bureau data, about 45% of Los Angeles residents live in single-family homes. Another 10 to 15% live in townhomes, mobile homes, split levels, ADUs, or other detached and semi-detached dwellings. And of those who live in multifamily residences, apartments, and condos, a good proportion are young people and young families who fully expect to move into a house in the near future, and retirees and other people who have chosen that lifestyle. With these facts in mind, the question must be asked, who's being excluded? It all raises the most important question of all. What happens if Sacramento, Silicon Valley, and Wall Street get their way? What happens if we eliminate single-family zoning altogether? So what are the consequences when a single-family neighborhood is upzoned? Well, as this video shows, the first thing we lose is most of the suburban forest. This is West LA. These are 2 blocks, one existing single-family and one that's been upzoned. See for yourself. Here's another perspective. This is from Culver City. You can literally see the line where the single-family neighborhood ends and the dense, nearly treeless multifamily begins. These days, given prohibitive cost of construction in many places, you also tend to get buildings that are indistinguishable. You could drop somebody in Seattle, Boston, Denver, Los Angeles. They wouldn't even know where they are. It's actually creepy. And by creepy, we mean, well, creepy. Community planning and development decisions are no longer made by neighbors. They're made by distant and unaccountable bureaucrats, the vast majority of whom have never even stepped foot in the zip code. And the results? Well, we're already seeing them. And they're not good. Already, in just the last 5 years, some 70 new state laws have slowly and steadily whittled away at local land use and zoning authority. The result has not been the promised boon of sustainable, much less affordable housing, but instead a new California gold rush of Wall Street investors, real estate speculators, and hucksters of every type. Even some existing multifamily neighborhoods are being supersized. Legislation also makes single-family properties more attractive to hedge funds, venture capital, and other institutional-grade investors who can outbid average buyers by tens or hundreds of thousands and who are eager to turn that one unit into 6, 8, 10, or whatever the legislation will allow. And they're going to do it by the thousand. The tragic irony is that Sacramento is solving the wrong crisis. More of these don't put roofs over the head of people living like this. They're of no use to the tens of thousands languishing on the streets. And likewise, tens of thousands more of these don't do anything for the hundreds of thousands of Angelenos who are scraping every dollar to make the mortgage or rent even before COVID-19 turned the world upside down. And in the meantime, with tens and likely hundreds of billions up for grabs, does anyone really think a few trees are going to get in the way? There are solutions. There are ways to both preserve and protect our existing communities and neighborhoods while expanding opportunity for those who want to live in them. It's possible to expand access to housing and affordable housing without the wholesale decimation of critical and cherished resources like our suburban forests. In future videos, we'll explore some of those solutions, including urban infill, repurposing of buildings and structures, and even direct subsidies. Everything should be on the table, everything except destroying the things and the neighborhoods that we love. Thanks for watching.